Good afternoon and welcome to CIS 2620. This is week 3 and I'll go through the requirements for this week so that you can have a good understanding of where we are. So when you click on the website, this is the page that you presented with through the start here, and we have the announcements. So like I mentioned, every week I'll be trying to post an announcement that will give you a direction as to what you should be doing for that week. So this is where the announcement for last week was, and there is a video. So even for this week, I'm assuming that you access this information through this link. Meet your instructor. Like I mentioned before, this is my email. You can contact me through the email or the phone here, or you can stop by the office hours. Now, I know this is a purely online class, but if you need to get back to me, you can either call within this time, Mondays and Wednesdays, 9:30 to 2:15, or if you happen to be on campus, you can stop by during this time. You don't need any appointment. In terms of the course documents, we have the interactive syllabus here, and if you want to get a hard copy of the syllabus, it's available through here. And then we have the course calendar. So this gives you a breakdown of where we are and what is expected of you so that you're able to plan ahead. So we're in week 3. We are going to be covering chapter 3, the project management process group. And in this week, you're expected to read chapter 3, watch some of the assigned videos, and then you can read and continue doing practice on the Microsoft project tutorials, which is found in Appendix A. For the assignments, this week we only have quiz number 3 and discussion board number 2. So I'll briefly go through the discussion board so that you have an idea of what is expected. A couple of things. Last week, most of you did the discussion well, and the requirements for the discussion are that you have to post your response to the discussion, and then after you do that, you have to respond to 2 of your friends or 2 of your colleagues, and the response should be substantive. So if you click on the weekly learning workload, this is week 3. I mentioned before, you at least need between 5 and 7 hours per week. So by now, I'm hoping that your schedule is well structured. You know where you are and your workload. And if you're very sure that you cannot afford at least 5 hours per week for this class, then you might consider other options. So that's one thing that you need to be cognizant of. A few things that I wanted to revisit. By Thursday, I will encourage you to at least have a good grasp of what is expected of you in the week. So remember, my office hours are Monday and Wednesday. If you write me an email on Tuesday or on Thursday or even on Friday, I'll get back to you. But if you're writing me an email on Saturday about an assignment that is due the same day, the chances of me getting back to you are very, very, very slim. And in that case, you're going to be taking a risk. So what I say is, by Thursday, make sure that you're aware of what is expected of you. If you have any issues, you can send me an email, and then we'll have enough time to go through the issues. A few more resources that I've added for you is, if you go to the discussion, click on that link for the discussion. I have what I'm calling the FAQs, the frequently asked question. And like I mentioned, here you can post any question that you think your colleagues or your friends might be able to answer, or they might be going through the same issue. Like for instance, somebody posted a question about the questions for the quiz, and I think there are 15 questions, and you have 18 minutes. So I waited for most of you to respond to this answer, and I didn't see any answer coming through. So what I said is, you can post any questions that you have for your colleagues here, and I'll wait for a couple of days before I respond. So feel free, if you have any issues, to come back here and do that. And I mentioned that you can click on reply if you want to respond to that, or if you want to contribute to the discussion. Going back to the discussion also, I have what I'm calling the Cyber Cafe. So if you click on this link for Cyber Cafe, here you can communicate with your colleagues. I'm not going to be grading this forum, so you can use this forum to share with your fellow students. You can post questions or tips on how to accomplish certain tasks in the class. Also, you may use this forum to socialize, and remember to maintain decorum and etiquette at all the times. So whatever you post here is not going to be graded. So you click on Cyber Cafe, and then you click on create a thread. So let's say you want to form a discussion group. or yeah, like a study group. So you can creep here and do the study group, and then you can post in the questions that you want to address, and you can come here and say anybody who is interested in a study group, and then you click on submit. So this is how that post is going to look like. So if I go back to discussion and I come back to Cyber Cafe, I'll come in here and I'll see, oh, study group, what is that about? So you click on that, and then you have somebody who is asking for a study group, and you can hit reply, and then what you'll say is you can post your response here and say, yes, please contact me through blah blah blah, things like that, and then you hit submit. So this information will be, anybody who is interested in the study group, they can post the information, and it's going to be in this forum. So if you come back to discussion and maybe you want to create a thread for something else, you'll click on create a thread, and then that might be another issue that you're working on, and you move on and on like that. So this is an online class, and this will give you an environment where you are able to interact with your fellow students, so you don't feel lonely, because sometimes online classes can feel that way, since you don't have a lot of time to meet with your fellow students. Okay, so when you click on week 3, you'll be presented with this window, and you have the learning objectives for this week, things that you should be doing. So we have quiz number 3, and then we have discussion number 2. You can go through the reading assignments for this week, watch a number of videos. So initiating process, planning, executing, monitoring, closing. So this is actually where the discussion for this week is going to be based on. So what I'll do is I'll click down here and I come on the discussion, and the discussion starts by saying a process is a series of actions directed towards a particular result, project, blah, 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 all the way to the end. So we have these 5 process groups in project management. Now you can map the main activities of each process group into the 10 knowledge areas using the Pinbook guide. Now this information is found in the PowerPoint slide for this week. And how do you get that information? So this is the summary, and remember I said don't use this as the only source of information for your class. This should be used as a summary. When you read the chapter, you can come back here and use this when you're preparing for the quiz or when you're preparing for the exam. So we talk about what is a process, is a series of actions directed towards a particular result, and then we have the 5 process groups right here. And then this gives you, in terms of time, how much time the project managers spend on each process group, and you can see executing is where they spend most of their time, and then they go into more details about what you call the alpha project managers and the general project managers. So you can see for the alpha they spend more time in the what? In the alpha they spend more time in the less time in the executing, because they're spending more time in the planning. So if you spend more time during the planning, you'll spend less time during the executing, because you're saying that your plan is well done and you have laid down all the requirements. So planning is very, very important, and it's the same thing that you should be doing when you're working on your assignments. Make sure that you do good planning, so when it comes time for you to execute, it's going to take you less time. So in terms of mapping those 5 process groups into the 10 knowledge areas, and remember when you look at the description of project management, we say is the application of tools, knowledge, and skills. So the knowledge, we have 10 knowledge areas in project management. And these are what you're calling the 10 knowledge areas: project integration management, scope management, time management, cost, quality, human resource, communications, risk, procurement, and stakeholders. So these are the 10 knowledge areas, and these are the 5 process groups. Then we have the activities in each of these. You can also get this information. You can get this information on the project management 10 knowledge areas by clicking on this link through here, and this will open these 2 documents, and you can click on the one for the PDF. And then this will give you the 10 knowledge areas down here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the 5 process group. And this is all there is about project management. If you can understand these 10 knowledge areas, these 5 process group, and these activities in here, then you'll be okay with getting the main concept on project management. So, getting back to the discussion for this week, the question is on what are some of the typical challenges project teams face during each of the 5 process groups. So you pick any process group and then you name at least 3 challenges in the process group. So you can pick, for instance, integration, project integration management, and then you look at developing a project charter. So what are some of the challenges that a project manager can have when they're trying to develop a project charter? So to develop a project charter, for instance, you need to talk with the stakeholders, you need to do interviews, you need to use other techniques for collecting the data. So there are going to be some challenges that you can encounter in the project, in the developing the project charter. For instance, also when you're looking at, for instance, executing, direct and manage the project. In this case, you're going to be working with different types of employees. They have different personalities, and that sometimes can be a challenge. So for this discussion, what is expected of you is you'll pick any process group, and then you give me at least 3 challenges that you think the project manager might face. Now, I'm saying that you can frame your discussion based on the project described in one of the feature boxes in this chapter. And what I mean by feature boxes is if you go to the chapter for the book, and I'm hoping you have the book. So this is chapter 3, and we have, like, for instance, in this case here, you click on that, and they'll explain to you some few information about this case, and then you keep reading a little bit. You'll come to chapter 3, and they have some. So this is during the pre-initiation. Determine the scope, time, and cost for the project. Identify the project sponsor. These are the activities that you do before you start working on a project. And here there is a practical example of a case. So if you read this case, you'll get some information that will help you to be able to see what are some of the challenges that a project manager can face when they're working through a project. Okay, so that's an example when I say you can get information from here based on the case. Another place that you can get information about how to go answering this discussion board is if you go through the link for the PMI. So this is the Project Management Institute, and they have the information on the awards that are given to the best companies each year. So if you click on the link here, it will give you information about companies that have won the awards in the past. And if you click on this link here, it gives you a video. So if you watch this video, you might be able to get some more information that will help you to see what the project managers went through, what were some of the challenges, and then you can use that as a setup to help you in responding to the discussion for this week. So that is what is expected. Now, what I expect you to do is make sure that you're using these rubrics. These rubrics are here to help you make sure that you are responding to the discussion in the right way. So make sure you post your first contribution by Thursday, and then you can wait maybe Friday, go back, and hopefully we'll have other students who will have posted their discussions. Then you at least make 2 contributions, and I'm saying that the contribution should be substantive. Also make sure that you're maintaining decorum. So don't just go there and say, hey, I agree with your observation. You have to contribute to the discussion. Whatever you're responding to has to add to the debate. Okay, so finally you have the quiz for this week, and there are 18 questions in this quiz. You'll have 15 minutes to finish the quiz, so make sure that you respond by Saturday, 11:59 p.m. So like I mentioned before, let me know if you have any questions, any concerns. You can reach me through any of these forums here. All the best, and keep the good work.